Welcome to Astoria Film Festival Presents, our weekly half-hour program featuring our films, filmmakers, events, and the local community. We're happy to talk today with Mo Alessini, Ramon Alaman, and Katrina Chiovon as they discuss guerrilla filmmaking and Katrina and Mo's film Violet.
Mm-hmm. So basically, just if you can kind of go around the room, if you will, and just state your name and what you do and kind of how you got into your field.
Ladies first.
Katrina, go ahead.
Very well. My name is Katrina Chiovon, and I am an actress and filmmaker who recently has also started doing a lot of producing as well. I started a dance career at the age of 3 years old. Small town, didn't have an acting school. So the best next thing was dancing school. And I basically lived there every day after school. And it was a dear passion of mine. And got into acting as I got a little older and I had a little bit more knowledge of it. And when I came to New York, I was definitely a struggling like waitress at that point, you know, and not being able to flourish or work on my career at all until much later on. So I'm a late blossom, I would say, as far as the acting world. And just, I don't know, as a kid, I would literally walk around with like a video camera and like record stuff, and I was always putting on productions and things in my house. Like, it's just something that's natural and something that I was born to do, and a big passion for me. And so, yeah, as I got older, you know, moved to New York with like a backpack on a Greyhound bus. It was like 17 or whatever, 17 and a half.
Sounds like a country music song.
I know, right? It really is. But no, and then, you know, luckily I've been recently enough to just be able to focus on my acting and producing and filmmaking as much as possible, and just very grateful to be able to work with, you know, some of the members in this group as well, in this panel, working on different projects. And I just, yeah, every day I'm just working on something new, creating, just constantly creating, working with new people, expanding.
I know Katrina, so I know she's always setting the bar too high for everyone. So I'm going to be short. My
Never
name is
too
Mo.
high.
Yeah. So my name is Mo. I'm a bridge engineer / designer.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in the that's another fun fact. I have a master's degree from Stevens Institute in Hoboken, New Jersey, and photography, videography has always been my passion, and I've never stopped doing it. It was my every time I wanted to, you know, even when I was young, I wanted to change my phone because the new iPhone has a better camera in it. Until I realized, okay, it's time for me to get an actual camera, and that was it. Once I picked up a camera, it was my passion. And I've been working with great people like Katrina. I've known Katrina for long, so we created many, let's say, videos and many photo scenes. She's a talented person, so I always have a lot of fun when you have someone to share this experience with and create something that's fun, something that people will be like, oh wow, this is awesome. We should, you know, take it to the next level. So hopefully that's coming up soon. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome.
That's
Ramon?
it. I'm going to keep it short.
No, we'll continue. To be continued.
Good. Yeah.
Ramon.
All right. So, name is Ramon Alaman. Been in the field for a while. I started out doing radio. I did radio for about 10 years. And I was like, I kind of hit that plateau effect where I wasn't going down, but I wasn't going up either. So like, let me just transition over to TV and film and stuff like that. And it's been a blessing. You know, I was able to get into the union. I was able to get into do stunts because I have a martial arts background also. Been on many shows such as Gotham, Power, The Blacklist, Blue Bloods, etc. So I kind of have that feel what it is to work on set, whether it's a big production or small production. And as long as you always bring the same energy, the same work ethic, you're always going to have a good time.
definitely. And have you worked with Katrina?
Yeah, we've known each other for many years. We're working on some choreography for a fight scene she has coming up in practice that she has she's working on.
Awesome.
And also you know, we just trained personally together, you know, in boxing, kickboxing, stuff like that. So we have a professional connection and a friendship connection. So, you know, I've known her for about 4 or 5 years already.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
so, Katrina, do you want to tell us a little about Violette, your film?
Violet. Yep, Violet.
Oh, Violet. And you spell
Yeah.
it with 2 T's. That makes it all fancy.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting how I came up. So we shot the sequence first, and then after I started kind of digging because I wanted a really good title, and I wanted it to be her name, but I wasn't sure. I wanted something really, really good. So I started digging and looking up double agents, like real female double agents.
Oh, wow.
And I found her, and she's from Paris. Her parents are like different. One was like a taxi driver. It was a great, amazing story, but she was actually a real double agent, and her name was Violet. And I didn't want to pull too much of it because it's not a documentary, and I didn't want it to connect in that sense. Mm-hmm. But I did get the name from it, and it's actually a real person. Double agent female, who is in Wikipedia, and you can look her up, and she's an amazing.
Was it a World War II thing?
Yeah, and she had a lot of stuff that was so interesting because she like had lived in London and then Paris. See, it was just really interesting to find, and it was someone who I could relate to. I could actually kind of look like a relative of some sort with her, which I wanted to find someone like that too, that actually I could play into part. If I kind of wanted to take it there, I could say like perhaps she's my great grandmother or something like that. So it was kind of a cool connection. So I found someone who looked, you know, similar, or I could play off as being a relative. And so yeah, Violet was a real woman, and I like that because I love period pieces and history and historical things. So it was important to find something that it brings more value and substance to the film. So, you know, because the thing with filming too, especially with me and Mo, there was no rehearsing. We really just went in and just guerrillaed it, and we did a great job, and it was just so amazing how we were able to accomplish that together. And it was freezing, you know, we were outside in location in New York.
It was cold,
It's freezing. It was freezing.
Mo, do you want to talk a little more about kind of what it took on the side for DP and directing?
Yeah. So like Katrina said, it was a unique experience because we didn't really rehearse for it. Like it was with no rehearsal. We talked about ideas. We kind of like brainstormed some visual locations, some of the outfits maybe. And sometimes it's like a story that unfolds as you start shooting it, you start talking about it. Obviously you get always more creative when someone else is listening to your ideas and like elaborating and giving you a little bit more here and there. So it started, you know, unfolding itself, and it was exciting. We didn't even want it to stop shooting. We kept shooting. We kept moving from one spot to the next. Obviously, it was a one-man show. I don't want to say one-man show because some of the shots I was in it. Katrina was like actually, you know, the you know, cameraman or camerawoman, I should say.
Camerawoman.
So editing it was a whole different story because those clips were shot separately, and to make it look like they were actually following each other, especially when you were in a subway. It was not easy to kind of edit that footage because we shot it separately, and it's hard not to show. I mean, obviously, it would have been a lot easier if we had a whole crew working with us. But like I said, it was more of an idea that we worked on it. It wasn't planned too far because sometimes when you plan something too far, I've had so many projects that I planned so far and never happened just because of, you know, keep planning it. Yeah, it's better to do it now and, you know, just move on to the next one. The next one's going to be better. I prefer to just keep doing things rather than planning for it because I'm a perfectionist. I'm going to be, and Katrina's too, probably. So if you're going to keep planning for it, it'll never happen. So we have so much ideas that we want to work on, but hopefully now, you know, COVID is going to slow down. People are going to go back to normal. If it wasn't for that, we'd probably have been already with our third or fourth short film now. So hopefully very soon we'll go back on track.
And Ramon, what are you up to these days? Like, what are your current projects?
So right now, I think basically being that major production still kind of getting back to like starting shooting again. Not much is really going on. I just still do the stunt training, fight choreography, and just trying to like just build up more with the stunt world, because it's a whole different aspect as far as working on film goes, because you have to incorporate being an actor and a fighter at the same time. So you have to have two different hats on at the same time. So for the most part, just working on that, and doing some monologues here and there just to keep the mind sharp with acting. And for the most part, just wait to see how things go. As far as production, I think things will probably start up maybe in late October, mid-October, hopefully. SAG just signed a deal with AMTP. I'm not sure if I'm saying the initials correctly. And supposedly they're working on the deal to get everything going this and the third, but still, if somebody wants to shoot an improv shoot, I'm down for it, because you always have to keep those tools sharpened by always doing some kind of work, whether it's stunt or acting or both.
And Mo, what are you up to these days? What's your current project?
I'm honestly, this September has been very busy. October too, thankfully. I mean, we want to go back to work. We want to be busy. It was a slow period of time, but now there's a lot of, I started, and I'm a founder of my own studio. I do photography as well. I do a lot of fashion, which sadly now it's stopped, but hopefully we'll go back soon. But I'm always looking for the next project. There's, if you have anything in mind, hit me up. Let me know.
I will. And
Yeah,
Katrina, what are you
absolutely.
working on now?
So yes, I'm very busy, thankfully. A lot of voiceover work during the COVID time, during the Star Trek animation voiceover. We just signed on for season 2, which we will start recording soon. And you guys too. Ramon is actually, and it's good, they're meeting for the first time here on Zoom, but actually Ramon is doing the fight choreography for what I've been working with Melissa as part 2 of Violet. So the continuation scene, which Mo will be shooting. So as soon as we get all of that together, we will be shooting that part 2 and making it a little bit of a longer scenario and film, and maybe even as a series and things like that. But I'm working on that.
There's so much potential there. I look forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Action adventure. It's really exciting. There's a lot of stuff, especially with the political and governmental side of things right now too. So there's a lot of that involved in the script and the writing, which is important and for what's going on globally. But yeah, I'm also doing, I am the creator and producer of the new series, The Glitch, which is a 1955 retro sci-fi comedy, which I don't usually do comedy. I really like kind of this more serious type action-y stuff, but I'm trying to I'm just doing everything right now, with the voiceovers, brought in some comedy. It's definitely has some Adult Swim style in there. But this one is really cool because it's 1955. So it's been challenging just to get the proper sets coordinated for that, but I really enjoy that one. It's kind of like a little bit Lucy meets like something else. It's got some, it's really cool. So yeah, I'm working on a bunch of stuff, and I can't wait for us to start shooting part 2 of Violet, and we can all get to working together again.
Absolutely. And
let's do it.
how can people reach you? Like if you want to give your website or Instagram handle, kind of going down the line, Katrina.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Katrina Chiovon. And what else? I have, YouTube, Vimeo, IMDb is Katrina Chiovon. It's all Katrina Chiovon.
Mo?
Yeah, moalessini.com is my website, and Mo Alessini is my Instagram as well. Feel free to reach out anytime.
And Ramon?
Yes, Instagram, very simple. My name, Ramon BX. And on IMDb, it's Ramon Aleman. Last name is Aleman.
And anything you guys want to say before we wrap up? Kind of going down the line again. Ramon, we'll start with you, go backwards, and with Katrina.
Yeah, so pretty much, no matter what the situation is, always work on your craft. I know that during the pandemic, some people were, a little bit down, more of a kind of lower vibe spirit. But the main thing is you gotta use that time to develop character, develop the mental, emotional fortitude to become stronger, and that's the best thing I can say to people.
Mo?
Yeah, again, thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure to work with talented people like Ramon and Katrina. And thanks to you for organizing it. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon with another project.
That would be wonderful. Yes. Katrina?
Yeah, I'm very excited to be part of Astoria Film Festival this year. I lived in Astoria for more than 15 years, and I'm very close now, right in Long Island City, so I didn't go too far, but I love Astoria and Kaufman Studios. I've been there on set and background many years, you know, so I have a lot of history there, and I'm very proud and thankful to be a part of this festival, so thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate having you guys involved.
Today we're speaking with Jenny Peirsol, whose film Quarantine is in our 2020 festival.
How are you?
Good, I'm great.
Tell us about a little bit about your background and how you came to make this film.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am an actor first and foremost, and of course, you know, March 11th hit and all of that was gone. So I really felt
it's so awful. That's my birthday, by the way. It's like the worst.
This is my boyfriend's birthday too.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think this specific film, what inspired me to make this was I found myself so interested in the shifting dynamics of couples who are finding themselves so suddenly and so completely on top of each other. Particularly in my own personal case when, you know, one partner has a professional life that translates pretty seamlessly to a remote work life, and the other one has completely lost all of their livelihood. And so, you know, you find that there are just these tiny little things that just like set a person off. And, but, you know, of course, the tiny little things like missing pieces in a Bananagrams game sort of belie the much larger issue of uncertainty and fear and frustration. And so with this, it sort of felt like, is there a way that I can bring humor and levity to acknowledging the juxtaposition of the fact that like, it's about the tiny little thing, but it's not about the tiny little thing.
Well, I think often the tiny little thing is the only way you can get out such deep-seated feelings. You know, like
Sure.
You can't even access the feelings because they're so painful. So that those tiny little things, I think, you know, help you access those feelings. So
yeah,
and then the film about that also helps you access those feelings.
Yeah,
so
right.
a full circle, right?
Exactly.
And are you working on anything now? Have you been able to get back to work? Like, what are you up to these days?
Right. So I mean, all of my stuff was face-to-face human contact, you know, so that definitely fell away. But I was actually able to transition into a job as an operations associate, which is completely different from what I normally do. It's a remote position, but I actually really love it. And it's kind of given me an opportunity to fuse some of the things I'm learning in filmmaking and work with developers, you know, using terms I never knew 3 months ago. So I feel very fortunate to have transitioned to that. I did, though, start working on another piece, something that was like a little bit more suspense. You know, not horror, I guess, psychological thriller maybe, but I hate the word adorable. And so when I first made this first one, everyone was like, it's so adorable. I was like, so I set out to make something absolutely not adorable.
Not adorable.
That's what we're working on now.
Like, most of the quarantine films that came through were akin to horror films. So I was relieved to see something that wasn't horror. I was like, does she choke him with the bag of Bananagrams? Like, how is this gonna end? Because everything else sort of went that direction, you know?
Totally. Well, I feel like that's kind of, it's very, you know, that didn't happen, you know, in real life, but it was very, very personal as far as like the ways in which I love to infuse humor into just a really crappy situation.
Yes, I think that's a survival skill, you know, like
yeah,
if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah, right.
What is it? The new LOL sob is kind of the new.
The new LOL sob.
Kind of
That's
sums up
good.
2020. And where can people find you in your stuff, like a IG handle, website?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. It's just at jenny.peirsol, Piersol. And then my website is just my name as well, jennypeirsol.com.
Cool. And anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
What? I don't know. You know, the only thing that pops into my brain is I just feel like I keep reminding people to give themselves a lot of grace during this time. That doesn't have anything to do with filmmaking, but that's the only thing that came to mind.
It doesn't have to. Thank you so much for your film, for the interview.
Welcome to the Astoria Film Festival 2020 virtual step and repeat interviews. Today we are speaking with Colleen Brady, who created Geronimo. Okay, so my first question for you is, can you tell us how you came up with the idea to create this work?
Yeah, so first I just wanted to make a documentary about aerial acrobatics and circus arts. It was something that always interested me, and I had been a competitive gymnast for about 10 years, so I could connect with people who did aerial acrobatics in the sense that it's not only physically challenging, but it's mentally challenging because you have to get over a lot of fear being like hoisted into the air by like 10 feet or doing flips or all that stuff. And so at first I just wanted to explore that. But my producer and I started reaching out to acro yoga studios, and we found Kate and Regina, who, Geronimo is a series. And so we found Regina, who's in Circus Trash Monster, and Kate, who's in Geronimo in Flight. And their stories were really compelling because they both used aerial acrobatics and circus arts as like a vehicle of change for their lives. And so once we met them, we basically we had to make it about them. We had to tell their stories. So that's how it happened.
That's so great. Yeah, I loved it. It was such a good film, like from front to back. Its structure was so well done. And it really, I liked the way it followed through with everything. And I loved how it ended because I had no clue what Circus Trash Monster meant.
Right.
I started watching it, but once I found out, I was like, oh, that's just the like coolest, but like sweetest thing to do for like the community too. It was
right.
So cool.
Yeah, I think it shows people that, you know, you don't have to be like special or privileged or have these opportunities. Like you can make opportunities for yourself to just make the world a better place.
Right. Yeah. And the way she did it too was just so incredible too, to
Right.
have you collect trash as like your way of paying for like circus classes. It was really cool. Yeah. So, and specifically to Geronimo, how is your life experiences affected the creative journey to making that? And, you know, how did that influence your work?
So I think that a lot of times stories about women are, you know, kind of defined by a lot of hardships and a lot of trauma. And those stories are very valid and important to tell. But I think, you know, with this rise of like telling a lot of stories about women, I just wanted to put out some stories saying like, it can also be really magical to be a woman. It can also be really empowering and awesome. And I wanted to highlight that, I guess. And so that was one of the main driving points specifically for Geronimo, to tell a story that's like, it can also be amazing. So.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's so cool. So I know a lot of people who make documentaries, usually they want to shine a light on something, or they want to expose their audience to a specific message or way of life. So what specifically was a message that you wanted to convey to your audience when they watch this film?
When I think about the message that I wanted to tell, I think it boils down to, because this is how I was feeling like when I made it, but I was at the precipice of my life of like a lot of big changes and a lot of big decisions. And I was thinking about how hard it is, like, oh, I could do this, but that's really difficult. That's really out of my comfort zone. And I think when I was telling these women's stories, I realized that you can make a change in your life. And it is simply that you have to have the courage to just go out and do it. Nothing's stopping you except for yourself, really. And I think that was really empowering for me to see, and a lot of other people when they see the films, that they too, no matter how big or small it is, they can make changes in their lives for the better.
The Astoria Film Festival is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We produce an annual film festival that highlights short films, feature films, web series, and podcasts from filmmakers around the world, and hold meetups and smaller screenings throughout the year to support local filmmakers. Our founder and executive director, Nina Fiore, grew up in Astoria, New York, and worked in television, digital media production for many years with MTV, PBS, Viacom, Sundance Channel, and many others. She also worked in after-school education. Nina began the festival with the hopes of uniting students interested in careers in film, television, and digital media production with local experts in the field. The majority of proceeds from our festival go into creating education workshops for local schools, after-schools, and community centers. We also run a Film Fellows program where we provide work, internships, mentorships, and training for students ages 15 to 25 with an interest in film, television, and digital media production. Most of our programming is now done virtually via Zoom for ages 8 to 12, 13 to 18, and 15 to 25. If you'd like more information about our organization, please visit AstoriaFilmFestival.org. Thank you.
We expect you to do 10 dozen cookies the first time you come in. The second time you come in, I'm expecting 15 dozen.